Now, if you remember the two films I made shooting the magpies and jackdaws that were coming down to eat the crop silage that the farmer had for feeding his cattle, well, this is the same farm, and I tried to do a different technique, basically using the same dead rabbit for bait and a dead magpie for a decoy in the field right beside the silage clump, hoping this would give me a better opportunity, let's say. I know there was plenty of magpies about this farm, and they were coming to the corner of this field to the silage clump. But with the coming and goings of the tractors and other machinery, with the feeding of everything in the morning, it was sort of starting to disturb the birds. So I thought if I set up in the field, away from the clump, that I would have a better chance of maybe getting a wee bit more of a bigger bag. So I have the hide already built. It's my little pop-up hide that I usually use. It's stuffed away into the corner of the field up against the hedge, and as you can see, I'm setting up the dead magpie and a dead rabbit for bait. Now, even though I arrived here while it was still getting light, you could probably still hear the magpies in the background chittering away. They're used to coming to the clump very early in the morning, so I could have done with being there at least half an hour earlier to make sure everything was set up before the birds had actually arrived. But I got into the hide, got the rifle ready, loaded and all, and hoped my disturbance wouldn't put the birds off too much. Unfortunately, it was probably over an hour before the first bird actually appeared, and it was a cold, uncomfortable hour at that too. But once I had spotted the bird, I got the camera zoomed in on him and got ready for the shot. But unfortunately, he was a bit of a walker and kept walking out of the picture. But at about 25 yards, I finally put a pellet into his head and dropped him on the spot. With the first bird down, it wasn't too long before a second appeared. Thankfully, this bird sat a good bit stiller than the first. So it's a wonder why I missed it. One of those matrix magpies. So after that miss, I had to sit a while in the cold before I got another opportunity. But I did get another opportunity, thankfully. He landed beside the first bird I'd shot. And this time I didn't miss. I guess that one wasn't trained by Keanu Reeves. The other birds were obviously upset, and I was hoping that I would get another opportunity fairly shortly, but unfortunately it didn't happen. The birds retreated to some fairly lofty, faraway viewpoints and didn't come back to me again that morning. And after sitting for a good 3 to 4 hours, I was somewhat stiff, cold, and wanting to go home to get a shower and a good cup of tea. And as you can see, my legs had sort of forgotten what they were there for. Well, let's see what we've got. 2 magpies, both headshots. And my decoy. I set up over the top one of the birds I shot, hoping that it would look like they were fighting and possibly bring down the birds for one last shot, but it didn't work this time. But thankfully the dead rabbit, which I keep in my fridge somewhere, did pull them down, and I got 2 and 1 miss, unfortunately. Bird just turned his head as I squeezed the shot off, but that's how it happens sometimes. Well, I've got a couple of magpies for the morning's efforts. Certainly not as big a bag as I hoped I was going to get, but definitely better than pulling a blank.